Welcome back, everyone. We are once again continuing our journey through the Marvel franchise, and today we're taking a hard left turn into something completely different. That's right, we're getting into our first in association with Marvel movie. What is that, you may be asking? Well, if you don't know, these are films that Disney and by extension Kevin Feige, who is over Marvel Studios, did not make. Well, except that one. And that one? And oh man, even that one? And you know what? Look, Kevin Feige worked on a lot of these, but only as an executive producer. These films exist because back in the 90s, Marvel was flat broke and sold the rights of many of their characters to other companies like Sony and Fox. No, not that one. Well, actually, yes, that one, but not really. It's complicated. I'm not getting into it. You have Google, use it. Anyway, the list of these movies include things like Venom, Deadpool, Blade, X-Men, etc. We will get to all of those eventually. Probably. But today, we're starting with Morbius. I don't know why I decided to do this to myself, but we had to get to it at some point, so we might as well just get it over with and rip that band-aid off early. Also, hi, it's Will from the future here. So when I started this video, I thought I wasn't gonna have a lot to say about this movie, and this video would maybe be 10-15 minutes long. But now that I'm pretty far into my script, I can see it's gonna be a long one, so buckle up. Also, stay tuned to the end of the video. I have a special announcement that you maybe don't want to miss. Also, you might hear a hum of a fan or the AC in the background of this video. I'm sorry, but it's currently hot as the sun where I live, and I refuse to break into a sweat for the sake of this video. I already watched Morbius. That was torture enough. Anyway, back to past Will. Also, I'm going to preface this video by saying it's probably going to be a bit different than normal, and we'll probably have a lot more swearing than normal, which will make more sense as we continue.
Are you cussing with me?
No, you cussing with me?
Don't cuss and point
You're
at me.
gonna cuss with somebody, you're not gonna cuss.
This video will surely be demonetized as if it was monetized in the first place, which it isn't. Let's just get into it. Please subscribe. So after avoiding it for a full year, I watched Morbius for the first time the other day. And I would like to now sum up this movie for you in just 3 simple words. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? And normally that would just be a joke, but here it's not a joke.
Not funny!
Genuinely, what the fuck? What the fuck did I just watch? That was not a movie. That was not really anything. I've not been this dumbfounded by a film in a long time, probably since I watched The Bad Batch, which if you've never seen is probably the worst movie ever made in my opinion. Maybe we'll get to that one day if that's something people want to see from me. Morbius might just be the worst superhero-themed movie I have ever seen, but then again, Brightburn does still exist. Also, bearing in mind, I have yet to see the new Flash movie, and I haven't watched the New Mutants. But really, who has? Now I'm going to stop myself right here and let you know I will have some nice things to say about this film. It's not going to be criticism all the way through, just mostly. I don't want to be a person or a channel that just rags on movie without giving them a chance. I'm not CinemaSins after all. I will leave that kind of criticism to the professionals. That being said, however, I want to start this video with my largest critique of the film, which actually has nothing to do with the film itself. Rather, it has everything to do with what the film is not. If you watched any trailer for this film, of which there are several, and you thought to yourself, hey, that looks pretty interesting, maybe I will watch it. Well, I've got bad news for you, because nothing in the trailers is in the movie. Not a damn thing in the trailers is in the movie. Now, obviously, I'm being facetious, but only just. Yeah, there's some visual shots in the trailers that are in the movie, but I would say a solid 75% of what you see in any trailer is not in the final film. This includes plot lines, dialogue,
If you're gonna run, do it now.
character arcs, hell, even whole fucking characters. You should be able to sue Sony Pictures Entertainment for false advertisement because the movie we got is not the movie the trailers promised at all. For context, Rogue One's trailers do a better job of telling you what's in the movie, and those trailers include an entirely scrapped third act. I'm gonna give a few examples now, but just know I'm barely scratching the surface of things that happen in the trailers that are not actually in this movie. First thing that's not in this movie that is all over the trailers is any evidence that there's a Spider-Man in this universe or in this movie. If you watch the trailers, they make direct references to Spider-Man. They show Oscorp. There's graffiti of Spider-Man on the wall. The only remnants we have of any of this is the Daily Bugle newspapers. A passing remark about Venom.
I am Venom.
and the Vulture, but he doesn't even appear until the post-credits. That's right, if you went into this movie hoping to see Michael Keaton reprise one of his best roles, you're better off trying to find a leaked copy of Batgirl, because just like Batgirl, he has more screen time in the trailers than he does the actual film. The scenes in the trailer are not even the ones in the movie. In the trailer, we see an exchange of Morbius and Adrian Toomes. Wait, is his name Adrian Toomes? What kind of last name is Toomes? Are you telling me Tom Holland's Spider-Man's first love interest was named Liz Toomes? That's a terrible name. But I guess it's still better than Morbius.
I'm just kidding. It's Dr. Michael Morbius at your service.
More like more BS, am I right?
Emotional damage.
God damn it. I said I wasn't gonna do any of those jokes. Whatever. Adrian Toomes and Michael Morbius in the trailers have a little exchange as Morbius is being taken to jail. We've all seen that clip at this point. And you know what? If that was in the movie and that's all we saw of his character, I would actually like that a lot more than what we actually got. Because what we actually got is just a weird crack in the sky like the ones we saw in Spider-Man, whichever one has Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in it. I refuse to remember the dumb home-based naming convention that they've done for that trilogy of movies. It's stupid and they should really drop it at this point. So weird purple crack in the sky opens up and then Adrian Toomes' Force Ghost appears into a prison cell, and then we cut to news coverage being like, well, this guy just Houdini'd himself into an empty cell and is being released because we don't know who the fuck he is.
Yeah. I'm Batman.
But we're sure he's a perfectly upstanding citizen with a name like Toomes after all. Nothing ominous about that. We then cut to him being escorted out of the prison, which is obviously where the scenes from the trailer take place. But here's my complaint with this. Him appearing in the prison is fine, but without the exchange between him and Morbius, this scene, other than the giant crack in the sky to show that someone has come through a portal, is completely pointless. A phrase I will be saying a lot as we go forward. But we could have cut directly from the giant crack in the sky to the second mid-credit scene, which is just Morbius doing a Matthew McConaughey car commercial before stopping in the middle of nowhere for Vulture to show up with his suit and be like, I think this has something to do with Spider-Man. We should team up, Doc. I'm sorry, that's my best Michael Keaton impression, I apologize. Pretty sure that's just every New Yorker.
You really are the most devious bastard in New York City.
This has something to do with Spider-Man. Christ. To which Morbius just replies, intriguing, and then roll credits. Cutting the whole prison scene would make sense because he does not show up in this universe with his Vulture suit and then just has it unexplained in the very next scene. Which is the second time someone in this movie has a weird tech upgrade that they just show up with out of nowhere. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happens twice.
I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
Also, you can tell this was probably a very late addition to the movie because the Vulture has his mask on the entire time and does not remove it. So I'm just gonna assume that when we're hearing Michael Keaton speak in this scene, it's just something he recorded on his phone, probably from his boat while he's trying to reel in a 100-pound tarpon. Yes, that's a real thing, look it up, it's hilarious. Some die-hard Marvel fanboy is gonna try and say, oh, he just built himself a new suit, no big deal. But no, that is a big deal because the suit he has in Spider-Man, he did not make himself. The Tinkerer makes that for him using Shitori? How the hell do you say that? Shatari? The Atari from the 8? I don't fucking know. Anyway, he uses weird space technology from the first Avengers movie, which as far as we know, there is no Tinkerer in this universe and there was no invasion of New York in 2012. Also, someone will point out that it's not the same suit from the Spider-Man movie and blah, blah, blah. But that's why it should have just cut to him showing up with a new suit in this universe. People get new suits all the time in these movies, so it being different wouldn't have mattered if it was implied he came to this universe with it to begin with. They handwave explain why Electro got a makeover, they can handwave explain why he showed up with a new suit. But showing up without a suit and then magically having one causes a lot of questions.
How durable is he? How durable am I? Questions for later.
This movie actually causes a lot of questions, which, spoiler alert, most of them are not answered. Plus, you don't see Michael Keaton's face in this scene. And if you didn't know who the Vulture was going into this movie, you might assume that they are completely different characters in these two scenes. Unless you're like me and you're deaf and watch every movie with subtitles in which they label his dialogue as brackets Toomes. Once again, nothing ominous about that. So here's my proposed way to fix the post-credits of this movie, like it fucking matters. Either A, you keep the removed footage from the trailers for the first scene and just completely remove the second scene, and everything makes perfect sense. Or B, which is my personal favorite, you show the giant crack in the sky and then cut directly to the second scene and have the Vulture lift up his mask so we can see Michael Keaton's beautiful mug, and then he says they should team up and it probably has something to do with Spider-Man. And then you cut to Morbius, have him still say intriguing, just one question though, who the fuck is Spider-Man? And then roll credits. It makes sense narratively, you set up future films, you use your one F-bomb allowed for a PG-13 movie, it's a pretty decent joke if I say so myself, with so many post-credit scenes in a joke, and it even fits the character of Morbius, who we see crack jokes throughout the film.
Not that kind of vampire.
But enough about the post-credits, let's talk about Tyrese Gibson. So I like Tyrese a lot. He's one of the better parts of the Michael Bay Transformers movie, and he usually gets a laugh or two out of me anytime he shows up in the Fast and Furious films.
Crazy-ass white boy!
So I really thought he had the potential to be this movie's saving grace. And he very well could have been, if most of his scenes weren't completely cut out of this movie. Again, if you watch any of the trailers for this movie, you will notice a large action sequence which features a ton of police converging on something, we never find that out. And we get a nice look at Tyrese's character, FBI Agent Stroud, and his special techno-advanced arm. I was looking forward to seeing how it would show up in the movie, as the first few times we see Agent Stroud, he's wearing a large coat, which in my mind was so that we could get a big reveal later in the film when he takes it off, revealing his weird techno-arm. When he meets Morbius for the first time, he even thanks him, saying his artificial blood saved his arm in Afghanistan, which would have been a really nice setup. They could have saved his arm with the artificial blood, but they couldn't completely save it, and he entered some kind of weird military program and he got a cool techno arm out of it. Or it could have been something similar to Misty Knight's prosthetic arm in Luke Cage, where Morbius's company felt really bad they couldn't completely save his arm and gifted him this weird cyber arm instead. There's even a hint that his arm is stronger than normal, because when Morbius goes to escape in the scene, Stroud stops a punch from Morbius with what would have been his robotic arm, a blow that sent his partner flying just seconds before. Also, for some reason, his character has a large scar on his neck, which I would assume has something to do with him serving in Afghanistan, but again, that's just not explained. But fine, whatever, right? He doesn't need a robotic arm to be a good character, right? Of course not. He can just be a good FBI agent with a military background who was saved by Morbius's research, so he wants to give the doc the benefit of the doubt that he's a good person and is trying to cure his disease and save people, and he's not some just weird, horrible vampire monster. That would be all well and good, and I would like to tell you that's what happens in the movie. But it isn't, because Agent Stroud doesn't really have anything to do in this movie at all. Like, let's break down all of his, and by extension his partner Rodriguez's scenes, who I will get to in a minute because oh boy do I have a lot to say about him. So at the beginning they show up on the ship after Morbius makes a meal out of his hired mercs. Then they go to interview Dr. Bancroft as she's the only survivor from the ship. They then go to interview Morbius, and they eventually capture Morbius, but then Morbius quickly escapes, so they go to Dr. Bancroft's apartment to try and find her, but she's already gone. They then show up at the crime scene left by Milo, realize that those people were not killed by Morbius, and then that's it. That's all we see of them until the final sequence of this movie, where they show up just to see all the bats fly out of the construction site. And they don't even say anything in this scene. And wait a minute. Wait a minute. What is that? Go back. Zoom in. What is that right there? Oh my god! It's his fucking robotic arm! It's his fucking robotic arm! He has his robot arm in the final shot of the movie with zero fucking explanation! Why is it there? Why does he have it only in this scene? Where did it come from? What does it do? How did this get past the first draft of editing? What the fuck is this movie? Okay, I'm in so much pain. This movie's gonna give me an aneurysm. Okay, whatever. Anyway, while we're here, Okay, I'm okay now. Okay, while we're here, let's just talk about the thing I hated the most in this movie, cause that wasn't even it. That should have been, but it wasn't. Which, that's probably gonna surprise you. Going in, I was ready to hate a lot of things in this movie. I was ready to hate Jared Leto's performance going in. I was ready to hate the dancing scene with Matt Smith that's been memed to death. I was ready to hate all the weird bat powers. But nothing, and I mean nothing, could have prepared me for what actually took me out of the movie the most. The thing I hated the most was the entire character of Agent Alberto Al Rodriguez, played by Al Madrigal. Now let me preface by saying I have not seen Al Madrigal in anything else before, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he himself did not write any of the jokes he's forced to say in this movie. And by all accounts, he's probably a good actor and comedian, but not in this movie. Agent Alberto is supposed to be the wisecracking partner to the Agent Stroud straight-laced brooding detective. Every time he's on screen, he's making some kind of joke, and not a single one of his jokes lands at all.
It was, what do you call it?
Exsanguinated. I looked it up.
And that is his whole bit in the movie, is to make jokes, and they are all just the worst. The only joke I like with him in it is not even his joke. It's in response to him when Morbius makes a sea legs joke.
Asks, what's the name of the act? And they say, the aristocrats. Ah, I didn't tell it right.
Which is unironically a really good joke in the movie.
How are you on boats?
As you can see, don't have very good sea legs.
Let's talk about some of Agent Rodriguez's jokes, just so I can try and get across to you how bad they are. The worst has to be when they go to Dr. Bancroft's apartment to look for her. Obviously, she's already left with Morbius at this point, along with her cat for some reason. We've never seen her cat. Hell, we've never even seen her apartment until this very scene. So what does FBI Agent Rodriguez do in this scene that's supposed to be a joke, you may ask, when they realize that Dr. Bancroft is not here? Does he make a joke about it being the wrong apartment? Does he make a joke about them being too late? Does he make a vampire joke? No, all of those would be too simple. Instead, he shakes a litter box and says, "Here, kitty, kitty." And then he's just like, I guess the cat is gone, meaning she's also probably gone. Like, was him shaking a litter box trying to call the cat supposed to be funny? Like, oh, he doesn't understand cats. Look at the dumb guy doing a dumb thing. But it all just comes across as nothing. Honestly, this whole scene is nothing. This whole scene didn't have to be in the movie. There's no takeaway from this scene. We already know she's with Morbius, and the detectives are aware she's probably helping him. This entire sequence of them going to the apartment does nothing for the plot of this movie, and in a film where so much has obviously been cut for one reason or another, this is the kind of thing you choose to leave in? Why? Just why? Okay, another example. Agent Rodriguez also tries to make a joke at the bar crime scene when he asks how much he thinks Morbius can drink. In this moment, he's equating drinking blood to alcohol. So then he asks Agent Stroud, when was the last time you drank 36 beers? Actually, when was the last time you had any beers? Agent Stroud obviously ignores this, noticing the CCTV cameras, because we gotta move the plot along.
Damn, like Westworld.
Yes, Morty, like Westworld, but don't fuck them.
But I really hate this joke so much because it feels so mean-spirited in the scene towards Agent Stroud for no reason whatsoever. I'm not really sure how to explain it other than his jokes always seem to be degrading towards whoever's in the room with him, and they always rub me the wrong way. I really believe that any comic book movie, regardless of the character, has the potential to be good. Ant-Man is a great example of this because prior to it coming out, no one thought a full movie centered around Ant-Man of all characters would be any good. The same can be said of Morbius. There's enough character-wise here to make a good movie, or at least an enjoyable movie. You can see the potential throughout the film, and it's really disappointing to see just how hard they dropped the ball. Keep in mind, this is the same studio that made Into the Spider-Verse, which is one of the best animated and best comic book movies ever made. That's actually what makes this movie so interesting to me. Like, this is the final product? This is what you settled on? They had to know watching the final edit that this movie was not any good. And it's not even like they had a bad director. Daniel, I'm not even gonna try and pronounce that last name, Jesus Christ. It's Swedish. He made Safe House and Life, and while those aren't the best films ever made, they are leaps and bounds better than this. So I know he has the potential to make a good movie, and I don't know where he went wrong on this, or if the studio had too much influence, but I actually have a lot more I wish to say about this movie, including detailed analysis of Morbius, Milo, Dr. Bancroft, and Dr. Emil. But this video is already running long and we haven't even got to our rankings, though I don't expect those to be much of a surprise to anyone. But because I actually do have much more I want to talk about, including Morbius considering suicide at one point, which is fucking crazy, I've decided to split this video into 2 parts. But before I let you go, I have an important announcement to make. I love making these videos, but it takes a lot of time and effort to make each one. Usually from start to finish, it amounts to roughly 40 hours of work. I want to continue to be able to make these videos and give them the time and effort that they deserve. So if you'd like to support me and help me keep my lights on, you can find your way over to my Patreon, link in the description. This is of course not mandatory, and videos will continue to be posted here as normal completely for free. But if you'd like to support me and get your name in the credits of each video, early access to videos, special Q&As, and the like, you can go over and sign up for as low as $1. The $1 tier gets your name in the credits of each video for as long as you're supporting. The $5 tier gets you early access to videos, exclusive posts, and possibly more in the future. I have this set up as a way to keep me going on this and to not let this project fall by the wayside as so many past projects have. Having your commitment means you have my commitment to make more content for you to enjoy. But that's gonna do it for today's video. I'll see you soon for part 2. Have a good one. We did it. We made it through another video, and I'm excited to announce we already have our very first patron. So shout out to Shirase, you absolute legend. Thank you for your support. Okay, bye. See you in part 2.